right, well, we will call the hearing to order. I see that we have 8 items on the agenda today. And I'm just going to go ahead because I see a number of individuals that are present. And I assume, Mr. Silva, there's also individuals present in the audience live at City Hall.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
Okay. So what I'd like to do, since we do have 8 cases and a number of individuals present, I'd first just like to introduce myself. My name is Stephanie Marchman. I'm the special magistrate on these cases for the city of Lake City. And what we'll do is we'll take the cases up in order of how they're placed on the agenda. And so, what I would like to do is go ahead, and if anybody is planning to speak to any of the cases, I'm going to go ahead and swear you in, and now, so that we don't forget to do it when we get to your case. So if you would just go ahead and if you are going to speak to a case that's on the agenda today, if you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. We'll start with the first case on the agenda, which involves a property owner, Fannie Mae Jackson. It's case number 2479. And the property address is 533 Northeast Washington Street, Lake City, Florida. Do we have anybody here to speak on behalf of the property owner for that case?
Yes, I'm Francine Ruffin.
And how do you spell your name, Ms. Ruffin?
Francene. Ruffin, Ruffin.
And Ms. Ruffin, what is your relationship with the property owner?
That is my deceased aunt.
Do you own the property?
No, it is heir property.
Is anybody currently residing in the property?
There is a man that I have told he needs to leave. I guess he lives outside the property. I don't have keys to the property. He doesn't go inside the dwelling at all, but he's creating a nuisance to the neighborhood.
Okay. So, Ms. Ruffin, what I want to do is turn to Mr. Silva right now and have him address this case in terms of the nature of the alleged violation and the notice that was provided, as well as what the remedy is that the city is seeking. And then at that point, I'll give you an opportunity to speak
Okay.
the city's case. Okay. All right, Mr. Silva, if you could just address the matters I just spoke to.
Yes, ma'am. On December 2nd, I observed the property that was littered with debris. There was a dilapidated travel trailer at the rear of the property. I did take photos and attached them to the case file. I sent a notice of violation out on the same date, which is December the 2nd, with a compliance date of January 3rd of 2025. The certified green card was returned to me as delivered on December 12th, and it was signed for by Ms. Ruffin. On January 17th, I re-inspected the property, and the owner had not complied with the cleanup. I then prepared a notice of violation and a notice of hearing and mailed it certified to the owner. And that was on the 17th of January to attend this hearing today. On January 31st, the certified green card was returned to me as delivered. It was signed for, but I could not figure out who had signed for it. On the 25th of February, I posted the property with an affidavit of posting and a notice of hearing. Also placed these at City Hall. Photos again were taken of the postings and are attached to this case file. On today, I took photos of the property for the hearing scheduled for tonight. Some improvement has been made, but there is still some debris and trees that still need to be removed off the property. The city is requesting, giving her a 15-day extension. If it's not cleaned up by the 15th day or the 16th day, we're requesting a $50 a day fine, start accumulating on the property, and a lien be placed on the property. We are also requesting admin fees of $19.28 that the city spent on postage.
Can you repeat that number again? Is it $19 and how much?
$19.28 for postage.
Let me just pull up the photos really quick because I wasn't able to see the photos that you took today, Mr. Sova.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Ruffin, what would you like to say in response to Mr. Sova's statements?
Okay, I spoke with Mr. Is it Selkov? With the city department, and I let him know the situation. After the first notice, I went to the property December 24th, and I spoke to the man there, and I told him he had to leave. I went and purchased no trespass signs. I read the notice to him. I put the no trespass signs up on the house around the perimeter of the house, and told him he had to vacate. I went to the police department and told them that he wasn't supposed to be there. After the second notice, I went back to the property and told him that he had to leave and he had to vacate and take all his things. The neighbors on both sides are witness that I have been over there several times and told this man he has to leave. But when I get there, I don't live in Lake City. I live in another city. He's not there. And I have told the police that he is not supposed to be there.
So the city concerns aren't necessarily the person that's living on the property, but it's the state of the property with the, as Mr. Sova said, the fact that the property is not cleaned up, that there's debris and trees that still need to be removed. What do you have to say to that?
Well, I gave the tax, the tax that I guess if I'm paying the taxes on it, but I don't live there. No one has lived there. So you all are trying to make me responsible for the trees that are there?
Well, that's a fair question, because I think there is a question as to who the owner of the property is and who's responsible. But Ms. Ruffin, under the city's code, property owners are required to maintain even vacant property under certain minimum standards. And particularly the code provides that vacant structures and premises or vacant land shall be maintained in a clean, safe, secure, and sanitary condition, as provided in the code, so as not to cause a blighting problem or adversely affect the public health or safety. So property owners are required by the code to maintain vacant land in that manner. I think there's a question, and I'll let Mr. Sova answer this, as to whether you're the property owner, and can be held accountable for the property.
I don't own the property.
Do you know who owns the property?
No.
Mr. Silva, in terms of the notice, who did you send the notice to for purposes of these violations?
I sent it to Fannie Mae Jackson et al. Let me see what the address was I sent it to. The address I sent it to was 143 Kingswood Drive, Ellenwood, Georgia, 30294.
And Ms. Ruffin, is that your address?
That is my address.
Mr. Sova, do you have anything to say to address the potential issue here with respect to who the owner is and whether the owner of the property has been properly noticed?
No, ma'am, if she's not the owner, they haven't been properly noticed. But if there's nobody there to clean up the property, the city's requesting a lien to be placed on that property.
How do I have the authority to do that without there being a proper notice to whomever the owner is?
Well, that's one thing Ms. Ruffin should have told me at the time.
I don't know that she has the obligation to do that, but Mr. Silva, we've run into this issue before with a deceased property owner, and what I would suggest is that we continue the matter so that perhaps the city can sort this out in terms of ensuring that the owner of the property is properly noticed, given that the listed owner is deceased.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Ruffin, is that where the city agreed that we'll continue this case so that the city is able to identify who the owner of the property is and properly notice them.
No way.
But I mean, just to be clear that if you do have an interest in the property, there is an obligation of whomever owns the property to maintain it, even if it's vacant. So ultimately, you know, if the city is able to identify who the owner is and send proper notice, you know, that will be an obligation of the owner to keep the property clean and safe.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Marchman, I understand.
Okay. All right, so we'll continue this case for another day. I appreciate your participation and calling in today.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we will move to the next case. And Mr. Soba, do you need me to issue an order in this case, or continuing it, or is the verbal ruling sufficient?
The verbal is fine.
I'm sorry, I wasn't able to hear you.
The verbal is fine.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay, the rest of the cases are going to be handled by Officer White. He's one of our new code enforcement officers. Do you need him to be on video?
That would be helpful if I could see him.
Okay, we'll change seats.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so the next case is case number 24-81. The property owner is Dante Blaine Moranto. The property address is 1196 Southwest Yorktown. I don't know if this is Glen Lake or I don't know, Lake City, Florida 32055. Do we have anybody present on behalf of the property owner?
Yes, my name is Donna Moranto. I'm his power of attorney and his mother. I brought a copy of the power of attorney if the court needs it.
Okay. Ms. Moranto, do you spell your first name Donna?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And then is it Mr. White, Don White?
Correct. That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so Mr. White, it's nice to meet you. If you wouldn't mind starting us off with this case and letting us know whether the property owner was properly noticed under the code, describe the alleged violations and the evidence of them, and let me know what the remedy is that the city is seeking.
On this case, on December the 3rd, we were notified by an officer, Mike Lee, of the conditions observed on this property at 1196 Southwest Yorktown Glen here in Lake City. There's a unfinished, dilapidated addition that was started on the property but not finished. So we started the case, and through some research on property owner, because Mr. Moranto didn't live at the property, it's being rented, we were able to locate the address that we sent, and Ms. Donna responded to the notices.
Okay. And what are the city's concerns with respect to the property?
Well, it's again blighting the community. A structure unfinished like that creates health hazards with mold and things because weather can't enter it. It also creates a rodent harborage or pest harborage because they can access it as a home of shelter. And the neighbors are also impacted by the unfinished structure being in that way.
Mr. White, I see in the photos the unfinished addition that you're speaking of, and it appears that there's a hole in the roof, which would clearly violate 304.11. But the second the second violation alleged by the city, 302.5, rodent related to rodents. Did you observe, or do you have any evidence that there was rodents harbored on the property, or there's an infestation?
Not that we could see from that vantage point. We're not permitted to. proceed onto the property to do any further investigation of that sort.
Okay. And what's the remedy that the city's seeking?
The city on this case is looking to, within the 30-day period, to have the proper permits to either demolish the structure and have that process started, or permits to rebuild the structure properly within that 30 days. If after the 30 days, a $100 a day lien for the days beyond the 30 days.
And just to clarify, the city is seeking that the permits be secured within 30 days, but the work not actually be completed within 30 days.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Moranto, how would you like to respond to the city?
I appreciate them sending the notice to me. We have a couple of things going on with the property. The tenants decided to try to take over the property. They were not making the payments as was agreed upon. My son is homeless. I do not know where he's at right now, but I did get a power of attorney when I found all this out. We saved the home from being foreclosed on. He had started doing the work and he can do that work, but of course he's in some other state right now. So I'm not looking to him to even be able to help or give money to. We spent over $7,000 to save the property so that my granddaughter we can use it to help send her to college. Had they asked me to go on the property, I'd have been absolutely willing to let them go into the back area. He was adding on a bedroom, well, extending the master bedroom and extending a bathroom in that area. There are no rodents there because the people that are there have 3 large dogs, even though they were under the violation of not having any animals in the house. If they went up to the property or anywhere close to the door, they would have seen the dogs trying to get out the windows to get to you. I've told them twice to leave. The dogs have to be off the property, off of the inside of the property. They haven't done that, so we're gonna be involved in an eviction notice here. I've done everything I can financially, being a single mother, to try to save this property. I don't mind getting the permits within the 30 days. I need to know what codes we have violated and what we have to do to be up to codes. I have inspected thousands of not only homes, mostly commercial residences in the state of South Carolina and North Carolina. So I'm pretty clear on what needs to be done. I agree this looks bad. The last time I was at the property, the roof had not caved in like it has now. So yes, I am aware that that has to be done. I've had one contractor go look at the property in the last 2 weeks. Another one was supposed to go this morning. I personally have not been to the property. I lost track of how to get there the back way and didn't want to be late for the meeting. So I haven't seen the property today, but I do want to see if we can not only, keep at least the trusses and that maybe make it a back porch, rather than just demolish everything. So I would like to have that opportunity, to be able to look at it, assess it, see what it's going to cost to fix. Of course, get our tenants that they lived there for 14 months and only paid 2 months of rent. And they went to hearings trying to buy the house as a tax sale. And luckily somebody in this town remembered me and found me and called me and told me about it. And that's how I was able to keep it from being foreclosed on and them just walking off with the house with the tax sale. So I'm trying to be real nice to them, but they're not on my favorite list right now. So, you know, I do want to have time to assess, to go in and look at it. I do live in South Carolina. And, you know, my plan is to fix it, not demolish it. Because I believe that we can fix the back to either become a porch with a roof, a proper roof on it, and go from there.
Okay. Mr. White, I have a question for you. Do you know how long it takes for a property owner to obtain a permit from the city to perform the kind of work that needs to be performed to resolve the city's concerns here?
The Lake City building official is the one who would need to speak to that. He's here as well.
Say that again, what was Lake City who?
Building official.
Okay. You have their phone number by chance?
Oh, he's here.
He's here.
Okay. But I'm not always
Yeah,
here.
and yes, also. Yes, the both of them.
Okay, great, thank you. I appreciate that.
Good evening, Your Honor. Scott Thomason, Building Official and Assistant Director of Growth Management. In answer to your question, I think the city would be happy if we get the application within 30 days. An application like that could take between 4 and 10 days to turn around. The city we don't have any objection to turning it into a porch. My concern is that the structural integrity of the trusses has been compromised due to the weathering. Engineered trusses are supposed to remain dry, and continuing getting wet can cause some issues, so we would have to look at that and possibly get an engineer involved to sign off on that. The other issue with a back porch is the Florida Building Code does require that there is a step down from the living area onto a porch area. And there's going to be some concern with water intrusion unless we can come up with an engineered system to avoid water entering the house. Maybe a trench drain or a French drain or something like that.
Did you already
might be
look at that?
acceptable.
Did you already look at that? Because
No,
there
ma'am,
is
I have
okay.
not entered your property.
Yeah, there's not a step down there. It is at the same level.
And that, yes, and most time when they do an addition, it will be the
Right.
same level. And that is a concern, is that water could come into the house, and normally there has to be a step down onto a porch area.
How long would it take for us to get that engineer to go out and look at the trusses? Because I don't want to, you know, put all the money into the permits and all that if y'all are telling me demolish it. It's not going to be structurally
Well,
sound.
the goal is to have proper compliance and have to be something that can enrich the community, not to force someone to tear it down. But
I agree.
according to the codes for the state, it has to fit those guidelines,
I
or else
understand.
it would have to result in that.
Well, and that's why I just asked. He said that an engineer would need to sign off on the trusses not being damaged. How do we go about that? Is that a cost in me having, or you having an engineer to go out there and look at it?
No, ma'am,
And
the
give me
city
that
does not have
decision?
an engineer. That would be on the owner of the home.
And what kind of credentials does this engineer have to, I mean, are we talking about a
structural
general?
engineer.
A structural engineer?
Yes, ma'am.
Do y'all have information on names or something?
Your Honor, are you okay with us back and forth like this? I don't want to be.
Yeah, I'm fine with. I'm trying to. I would like you all to work it out. I think what I'm just trying to get out, and I think we could sort of take this conversation offline, just because we have a lot of other individuals here, parties here that would like to have their cases heard. But what I'm trying to determine is I want to make sure that Ms. Moranto has enough time to apply for the permit and do the work, whatever the work is that needs to be done. But if the city is agreeable to just the order being that that the property owner needs to apply for a permit within 30 days, I think, Ms. Moranto, I think that's something you would be capable of.
Right. What is the
do you
cost
have
of
any
that?
concerns? Do you have any concerns with that?
Just what the cost is for getting
I'd be
those
happy to
permits.
speak with her outside if that is acceptable.
Yep.
Already, no.
So, yeah, and Ms. Maranto, the building official has offered to speak with you about the process and sort of the technical requirements of the city and the building code and what those fees are and the permitting process. Our concern and what we're here on today is the alleged violations, and the evidence presented by the city is that the building is in a state currently that does violate the code. And what I'm hearing from you is that you would like to address these violations and resolve them. And so, and what I'm hearing from the city is that they're willing to give you time to do that. Time being 30 days to apply for a permit to either, you can either demolish or you can, get a building permit to clear up what the violations are. So, that's not for us to decide or the city to decide in terms of what you want to do to resolve the violations. That's entirely up to you. But the violations should be in the notice that you received. So to answer your question about what's required, the violations that are before us today are 304.11 unsafe conditions, and that's specifically related to the roofing.
Right.
That you can acknowledge there's a hole in the roof, and so that clearly violates the code. I'm not going to find a violation of 3025 related to rodents because I didn't hear any evidence of that.
Right.
So what I'd like to do is find that there is a violation of 304.11 because of the status of the roof and the disrepair there, but allow you to have 30 days to apply for a permit to either demolish the addition or to repair the roof. And then after, if you don't do that, then what will happen is there'll be a fine that will accrue daily on the property. And I believe Mr. White asked for $100 a day. I'd be inclined to do a $50 a day fine. That's what my practice has been in these types of cases for the city. And so if you don't apply, a fine will be levied against the property, and then it will become a lien on the property. So is that clear to everybody? Any questions or concerns?
I have a question and just wanting clarification. I believe you said that it was the 30 days to apply for that permit and not
Correct.
to have the correct things done. My second question is, you're saying that it has to have an engineer to sign off, but if we're replacing the roof and we have a general contractor that is licensed in this state and approved in this state, is that not also acceptable or?
I would be happy to speak with you outside once we.
Well, I would like that on the record, sir.
No, ma'am, these are engineered trusses and only an engineer can reapprove them or make sure that they are acceptable.
Yeah, and Ms. Branted, whether or not an engineer is required isn't part of my order or part of this case. Again, it goes back to the violation of and the need to either demolish or repair the roof. So whatever is needed to get that done, that's up for you to figure out with the city, and the building official has offered to assist you with that and give you some direction off the record. The most important thing is since I have found a violation of 304.11 and have ordered that you must apply for a permit to demolish or repair the roof in 30 days, is that you get that application into the city within 30 days to avoid any fine.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Anything else on that matter, Mr. White?
No, that was it for that case. Thank you.
just making.
There was one other thing. She's left already. It was the admin fee was a part of that.
Since I've already made the order, I'm not going to include that in this one, especially since Ms. Maranta has already left.
That was my oversight.
No worries. Okay. So we will move on to the third case on the agenda, which is 24-90. The property owner is Diane Sherwin, and the address is 954 Northeast Family Lane, Lake City, Florida. Do we have any representative of the property owner present to speak?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm the owner.
Good evening. What is your name?
Diane Sherwin.
Ms. Sherwin, I see that you're having trouble standing at the microphone. Mr. White, would it be possible for Ms. Sherwin to perhaps sit up at the dais so that she can sit and speak into the microphone?
Absolutely. She said she's fine where
Okay, she's fine right there. Okay. All right, and Mr. White, will you be handling this case as well on behalf of the city?
Yes. Yes, I will.
All right, so Mr. White, I will give you the floor to review the notice that was provided and the violations and the evidence of them, and then the remedy that the city is seeking.
On this property, on December 13th, there were large amounts of covered items and debris on the front of the property, some overgrowth, vegetation, creating a blight concern in the community. Neighbors who had called about it said that there was an issue with rodents from the harborage there. The notice was sent, notice of violation was sent on December 16th, 2024. Had the certified mail that was accepted and signed for. And then during, this is just additional, doing some research, there's a prior case on this property from 2018 for a similar violation of building debris on the property. And in that case, there was a lien placed as well on the property. And then on January 16th, 2025, second notice of violation and notice of hearing were sent with a correction date of February 13th of 2025. And then the continuation, the property remains in the same condition as found on December 13th. And then the hearing today.
Okay, Mr. White, I'm looking at the photos in the file in the agenda packet of the property. I see overgrowth on the property, but it's unclear to me what else it is I'm looking at on the property. Do you know?
Yeah, there's some large boxes that are on the front of the property just behind where the vegetation can be seen with tarps on top, just ahead of the house. They go across the front of the property almost from end to end.
Do you know what's in the large boxes?
I do not.
it appears on page 83 of the agenda packet. Are those pipes? What is that picture? Do you know?
So,
Or are those trees that are just lying on the property?
there's not a picture with, unless you have a picture of the rear of the property. And
Do you have the agenda packet? I can share my screen if that's helpful.
yeah, that would be good.
Okay. I am unable to share my screen.
I believe you're looking at the rear of the property, where there's a fence and just behind the fence.
Correct.
Yeah, it looks like some type of materials that would be some type of piping, but I'm uncertain what that's for.
Okay. What is the remedy that the city's seeking?
The city seeking initial 15 days to clean up the property of all the debris. More than $50 a day beyond the 15 days.
Okay. Ms. Sherwin, is there anything that you would like to say with respect to this alleged code violation by the city?
I'm very cognizant of they weren't weeds, they were flower beds. And the freeze that we had just killed all the flowers. And my help, I haven't been able to get out and cut them down and cut them back. And I'm cognizant that I need to do this. My health has just been really bad in the last 2 to 3 months. If I could please have 90 days to get this accomplished, because it's an acre of property. I want to get this done. I'm aware it needs to be done. And if you can please give me that time, I will get it accomplished. I've hired people who come and take my money and then they don't do the work. Also, they come and do the work and they're scoping my property out. One gentleman broke in my house over 5 times that we're aware of. He will be going to prison. Police didn't catch him. I'm 76 years old and I caught him red-handed with my TV from my bedroom in his hands. I'm having problems with people taking the money, from plumbers to you name it, to people cutting down trees, and the pile in the back, the city was gonna come and pick it up, and they didn't. And I've been on the phone with the gentleman that Mr. White gave me the name to call. And I need to get it pushed with the Bobcat closer to the back fence because there's no place to put it. It's either on the road or on the property. Well, they won't pick it up if it's on your property. So I'm gonna have to coordinate a Bobcat in order to push it to the street in order for the city to pick it up. Which doesn't make any sense, but that's where we're at. But I've been in and out of the hospital, paralyzed from my neck down, and I'm just starting to recover.
Mr. White, is the city agreeable to giving Ms. Sherwin 90 days to clean up the property?
Initially, the city would be more inclined to 30 days to have some progress.
That's impossible. Oh, progress,
Yeah,
no
there
problem.
has to be some significant progress to show that the efforts are being put into getting it cleaned up, and then potential extensions beyond that to finish it up. We just don't want to extend 90 days and then have it breach that and not have really had any traction in making a correction to the violation.
I promise, sir, that's not gonna happen. I want it done as much as you do.
Okay, Ms. Sherwin or Mr. White, do you have anything else to add?
Not at this time.
No. Just please give me the 90 days and I'll make sure it gets accomplished, one way or another.
Your Honor, may I speak, please?
Yeah, who do you represent?
Myself, Your Honor. I was trying to see if the lady there would give a number so I can take care of the yard for her. The lady saying now.
Ms. Sherwin, this gentleman has offered to assist you. Do you want to give him your phone number?
Yes, please. 772-380-8323.
That's 772-380-8323.
Yes, Diane Sherwood.
Yes, ma'am. I'll call you before the end of the day, ma'am.
And your name, please?
My name is Dozy.
Dozy?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Dozy.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Sherwin, what I'm going to do, given your condition and your commitment to cleaning up the property, I'm going to find a violation of Rule 30 or code violation of 302.4. And ask that order that the property be cleaned up within 90 days. And after that, on the 91st day, a fine of $50 a day would begin to accrue.
I have a question.
Yes.
In the past, if there was a fence put up and things were behind the fence, then that, I'm not gonna say that's what I'm gonna do, but if we put a temporary fence across the front until we get it cleaned up, would that help?
Ms. Sherwin, I'm going to let you talk with the city officials offline about whether that would resolve their concerns or not.
It would just be temporary until it gets accomplished in the 90-day period.
What I'm seeing in these images is really related to the growth and debris in terms of trees and weeds that need to be addressed.
Right, the trees in the back.
Well, also in the front, all the boxes of whatever the
Right,
materials are.
those will be taken care of also.
And these, Ms. Sherwin, what are these boxes?
They're on the side of the house and across the front, a little bit across the front. My yard is over an acre, and this was just a temporary thing until my health got really bad. Those boxes will be gone.
And what's in the boxes? I mean, is it just?
Styrofoam. I'm gonna be grinding them up to make a product.
Okay.
House.
I'm going to do a violation of 302.1 as well to cover the boxes. Okay. Anything else on this case? Is that clear to you, Ms. Sherwin? So you'll have 90 days to clean up the property.
No problem.
And again, just I missed it on the last case, but all the cases have that $19.28 admin.
And I will award the city their administrative cost, which is $19 and how many cents?
28 cents.
28 cents.
I'm sorry, what is that for?
All the work involved in preparing and sending notices and all of that.
That's kind of funny because it was I that called you initially to come out
For a different case,
for a neighbor that pushed their garbage onto my property.
which that case was also resolved.
Yeah.
Okay. I will issue the order. Ms. Sherwin, I'll send you a copy of the order as well as the city.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I owe you $19? I apologize.
The city, $19.28.
Okay, when is that due? Now?
He'll talk to you outside,
All right.
okay?
Thank you
Explain
kindly.
everything to you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sherwin.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. White. We will move to the next case, number 4, which is 24-93. Huntley Investments, Inc. is the owner. The property address is, I'm actually unclear as to what the property address is, so I'll let Mr. White address that. The property records say the address is 328 McFarland Avenue. However, the agenda, I believe, says 833 Southwest Poplar Lane. So I just wanted to clarify.
Correct. It's one parcel, but it is adjoined on 2 streets, on McFarland and Poplar. There's 2 structures. One faces McFarland, one faces Poplar. It's the one that's on Poplar. 833 Southwest Poplar is the one that's in question.
Okay. Okay. All right. Do we have anybody present, a property owner representative? Yes, sir. What is your name? I am unable to hear you. We still can't hear you. If you click on the arrow up button next to the microphone in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, you should be able to select a microphone. You might need to select a different microphone.
Mr. Hunter, we still can't hear you.
Sir, you should be able to call in on your phone as well. I think you should have a phone number option as well. Why don't we do this? Why don't we, while he is calling in, why don't we move to the next case so that he's able to call in and speak to this matter. So we'll just make a note here.
The next case is also for Mr. Hunter.
Okay. We'll skip 4 and 5 for the time being, and we will move to case number 6, which is 24-98. The property owner is DBM Property LLC. I did have a question for Mr. White. I noticed that the mailing address in the property records was 293 Northwest Webster Avenue. However, it appeared that the city mailed the notices of violation to 261 Southwest Sebastian Circle.
That's,
Do you know?
yeah, that's actually the address that there were multiple addresses. And that was the address that we received the response back to through the sources for addresses.
Okay. Where did the 261 Southwest Sebastian Circle address come from?
That was from AccuRent.
I'm sorry?
AccuRent website.
And what is that?
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Yes, the Accurate is a software where we can locate addresses, prior addresses for people and addresses that are connected.
Okay. Okay. Is there anybody present to speak on behalf of the property owner?
Yes, I'm here, Your Honor.
Okay. And sir, what is your name?
Dennis McNeil.
I'm sorry, you broke up. Can you say that again?
Dennis McNeil.
And Mr. McNeil, how do you spell your last name?
McNeal.
Okay. All right, Mr. White, if you could, just like the other cases, describe what the notice was in this case and the violation, the alleged violation, and the remedy that the city's seeking.
On this property, there was a tree that had fallen on it and penetrated the roof and the structure. On 12/19, this condition was noted, and it makes the structure uninhabitable because it's still resting on that structure, and the framework has been compromised. Exposed to water and weather damage, causing it to be unsafe. It was posted with the unsafe notice due to that condition. And on the 19th of December 2024, the notice of violation was prepared and mailed with a correction or follow-up date of January 19th, 2024. I'm sorry, 2025.
And what remedy is the city seeking?
Again, as in other cases, Your Honor, the city would like the structure either repaired or demoed. And the framework of the structure, the walls blowing out, make it a dangerous situation. The building official is the one who looks at and makes those determinations for condemnation or what needs to happen. And he can speak to that if there's some kind of concern with that. But it's to repair the structure properly or to have it demolished.
Okay. And in what time frame?
Again, the permits for either within the 30-day period to work to pursue according to the permits requirement. After that date, beyond that 30-day period, if not applied for, standard $50 a day. Beyond the 30 days, not.
Okay. And then is the city seeking recovery of its administrative cost?
Yes,
And is that the same amount,
yes,
1928?
correct.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. White?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Mr. McNeil, what would you like to say with respect to the city's case?
Well, we have a dilemma out there. It wasn't my tree that fell on the house. It was the neighbor's tree that fell on the house. And the owner of the house is deceased. That roof and stuff was just put on that house. So I don't know, I'm gonna have the tree removed. But I was trying to find who owned it so they can get the cost of what I got to spend to remove the tree. Because like I said, the roof had just been put on that house. A hard roof, then the tin.
Mr. McNeil, you don't own the house?
Yes, I own it.
You own the house?
I own the house.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said the owner of the house is deceased.
No, the owner next door. Because their tree fell onto my house.
I see.
So I was trying to find out the owner of the house so they can pay to get the tree moved off from the house. I just spent a lot of money in that house and now I'm stuck in limbo because their tree fell on my house.
Are you, I believe you said you were going to get the tree off the house.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the tree off of there. I just wanted to come to the hearing to make known that the roof was just put on there. The city had the permit. They expected the roof and everything. The roof is new. Their tree fell from the hurricane and damaged that. They don't have homeowners insurance. They have nothing over there. They're not even living there because the lady that owned the house is deceased. And on the other side, there's no one staying there.
Okay. What? Mr. McNeil, it's the obligation of the property owner to keep your structures in good repair. The city is not able, and I'm not able to order a neighboring property owner to assist with that matter. That's really a civil matter you'd have to take up with them, but ultimately it's your responsibility under the code as the property owner to address the tree and the issue that it's created with the roof. I'm hearing you that it was a new roof and it wasn't your fault that it happened in a hurricane and it was the neighbor's tree, but ultimately it's still going to be your responsibility to maintain and resolve that issue, whether it means demolishing the structure and starting again, or getting a permit to repair the roof. What the city is asking for is that you at least apply for a permit within 30 days to either demolish the structure or to repair it. What do you say to that request from the city?
I just put $20,000 in there and I'm not gonna throw it in the trash. So I'm gonna repair the unit. But I just hate that I'm getting a lot of cost for no reason when I could have finished the house for the money that I'm finna spend. I had people to come out there, FEMA came out there. They said they was gonna remove the tree. Nobody got back with me about that. Then I went in the hospital, I had back surgery and neck surgery. And I had one in November, and I had the other one in December. So I'm just getting back around to try to get everything back to going.
Okay. All right, Mr. McNeil.
It'll be done. I'll get it done. I said
Do you have any?
done. Yeah, I'll get the permit and I'll get the tree off of that.
Okay, thank you. Does the city have anything else they'd like to add?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to find a violation of 304.11. And grant the city's request that the owner apply for a permit within 30 days to either demolish the property or demolish the structure or repair the structure. Beyond 30 days, a fine of $50 a day will accrue, which will serve as a lien on the property. And I'm also going to award the city's administrative costs of $19.28 for the certified mailings. Any questions?
No. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate your time, Mr. McNeil. Okay. All right, we will move on to case number 7, or agenda item number 7, which is case number 24-100. Lake City DG LLC is the owner. The address is 136 Northwest Bascom Norris Drive. Do we have anybody present to represent the property owner?
Your Honor, we do have a witness here.
Okay, can the witness come up to the podium?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Gary Laxton, and I'm the one that filed a complaint with building and zoning. I have nothing to do with the property. I just filed a complaint.
Okay. And sir, can you state and spell your name again for me, please?
Laxton, Laxton.
Is that your last name?
Yes, ma'am. First name is
And what?
Gary.
Gary.
G-R-Y.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Laxton, for being here. I'll give you a chance to speak to the matter after I hear from the city. Mr. White, is there anybody that you can see in the audience present to speak on behalf of the owner?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, Mr. White, if you could confirm for me that proper notice was provided to the property owner.
After the complaint was called in, I went by and verified it on December 19th. It had significant overgrowth in the retention ponds in excess of city and ordinances. And on the 20th, prepared and sent a notice of violation via certified mail with a correction date of January 19th, 2025. They received the claim ticket from the certified letter. The card is received on December 27th. And on January 24th, I sent notice of violation and notice of hearing. respondent has multiple cases of the past. Within the last 5 years, he's had multiple cases. In 2021, retention pond overgrowth. In 2022, retention pond overgrowth and some rodent harborage. And then in 2025, again, with the same concern or violation.
Mr. White, what is the remedy that the city is seeking?
Well, the respondents has made correction to it since the last communication. We are still seeking a fine due to the repeated violation that the city is having to manage to with this property, as well as administration.
Hi, Mr. White, to confirm, the property owner has addressed the city's concerns and resolved the violation?
Correct.
I'm sorry, you broke up there right when you answered.
That's correct.
Mr. White, I didn't see, I'm hearing you ask, I've heard you ask for a fine, given that this is a alleged repeat violation. When I look through the materials, I didn't see any orders in the materials that I was provided showing the prior violations.
All of that was sent in the same packet. I'm not sure why I wouldn't have copies of the documents with me that's having been sent.
I have the agenda packet up now, and I do not see anything. Is there, can you direct me to a page in the agenda packet where the orders exist?
It would be after the photographs of the property.
I see the photographs of the property. They're dated December 19th, 2024. What I don't see is evidence of the prior violations.
I'm uncertain how they were lost. All of it was transmitted along with all the other cases, so I don't know if it needs to be continued or lean on your recommendation.
Okay. So without seeing the prior violations, I can't award the fine. I can't confirm that these are repeat violations. And I'm just looking at the packet that was sent to me that's online. So unless the city can provide that information, I mean, we can continue this case to give you time to the next hearing if you want me to do that. But without that information before me, I'm not able to make that determination.
Again, I think that compliance is really what we would like to have from all the respondents. Again, just in this case, I know you don't have the documents, but the repeated nature of it is why we were looking to assess a fine.
Your Honor, the city doesn't see a need to continue the case. Mr. White said that we are looking for compliance. This is a repeat offender, and the city shouldn't have to be policing his retention pond and making them this should just be a normal occurrence. I'm sure we'll be back in front of you again for a similar violation, and at that time we'll have all the violations that were previously done in place for you to look at. But we don't need a continuance at this point.
So what is it the city is seeking an order on? Because if the violations have been resolved and I'm not able to issue a fine, or I'm not able to find that the property owner is a repeat offender because I don't have that evidence in front of me, what is it the city's seeking?
Well, in this case, there wouldn't be any recourse for the city without the other documentation. So we would just have this case be settled at this point.
Okay. So hearing that, I will, I do want to give Mr. Laxton a chance to speak as well. So I'll go ahead and hear Mr. Laxton.
Thank you. You're right. I don't really have any issues with anything that was going on here. I was just frequent a restaurant, and sometimes I'd have to park in the Dollar General parking lot, and the retention ponds was just grown up like a jungle, and some of the fencing was down, and I was more concerned about safety. Kids, for lack of better words, drunk, staggering in there and stuff of that nature. So I called Mr. Sowa just kind of bring it to his attention, and they took it from there. I've noticed as of today, it's been cleaned up, and that's really all I wanted. I have no concerns about fines or any of this other stuff. I just wanted it cleaned up. I'm satisfied.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Laxton. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you coming down to speak with us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I go?
Yes, sir. Good.
See y'all.
Okay. So since the violations have been resolved and we didn't have the evidence that this was a repeat offender, I'm not going to, and I'm basically hearing that the city is withdrawing the case. So I'm going to not issue an order in this case. And certainly, Mr. White, if there are, if this becomes an issue again, you know, and the city wishes to bring it back before me, I do need to see the prior magistrate orders on those related violations.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Do you have page number 295? I found it on the agenda. It should be a case number of 2021, and the last two numbers will be 91.
Yes, I see. That's a notice of violation. What I need to see, Mr. Silva, is the magistrate order finding the violation.
Okay, I see what you're talking about.
Yep. Okay.
My bad.
No, you're good. Okay, so we will move on to case agenda number 8. Let me just make sure I have a note of this. Okay, and then number 8, which is case number 24-103, property located at 672 Northwest 274th Terrace. Do we have anybody present to represent the property owner?
Yes, ma'am.
And I heard earlier your name is Dozy. How do you pronounce your last name?
DK. Okay, I can.
Okay, and I see the property is in the name of ObCube LLC. Is that an entity that you have an ownership interest in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and Mr. White, are you going to speak to this case as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll let you go ahead and say your piece.
We were at this property parcel on December 26th. There's a manufactured home place. It had not gone through the proper channels for permitting or inspection prior to being placed. On the 26th, we prepared a notice of violation, sent it to the owner. Structure was tagged because of these conditions. With the notice that the proper methods had to be taken, permitting and inspection, or the structure would have to be moved, and until those things were done properly. The city is looking to have the proper permits and everything done. The respondent has started that process currently, but it has not been from the time that the correct time frame for when the structure was placed in December. It's only within the last few weeks that the process has been started on the permitting and inspection process.
So the owner has now applied for the proper permits?
There's been some paperwork done, but there's still some issues with how the process has been pursued in getting the permits. So they have not been accomplished as of yet.
What are the issues?
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes.
The original applicant, I think they had tried to deed the property over to Mr. Dozie's daughter, I believe. They were trying to apply for it as an owner-builder permit, some of the work. With the intention or the statement that she was going to live there. The place is already listed for sale. So I don't think there is an intention for her to live there. So that's kind of held up the process. Some of the submittals they have submitted were not adequate. Site plans where the driveway weren't showing where the actual driveway was going, items such as that. Since they have had a licensed electrical contractor and a licensed air conditioning contractor apply for permits. So as of this afternoon, they were, I think, close to being approved. I think they will be approved tomorrow, if not already, because I think I've signed off on everything now at this point.
So what is the city seeking at this point to resolve its concerns with respect to this property?
Generally, when the permit process hasn't been followed, if there's work that's been pursued prior to permitting properly, there are additional costs in getting the permit that are assessed. So that would be a requirement in this case.
And Your Honor, if I may, this seems to be a rampant problem in the city where people are moving mobile homes on without getting permits. I have no doubt that Mr. Dozie was going to apply for a permit at some point. There are rules and regulations that apply to mobile homes, and when you bring them outside of the county area, that they be inspected and they meet certain wind load requirements, as well as HUD requirements. They have to have serial numbers, data plates, things like that. The rules are that there is an inspection done prior to moving them into the city limits. This was not done in this case. Again, this is a rampant problem, not just with Mr. Dozy, but he just happened to get caught. A complaint was filed with our office. So again, this is something that is repeated, and the city's asking that a message be sent that we are asking for fines. We know he's come into compliance now, but we shouldn't have to reach out to the owner of the property to ask him to comply. I think Mr. Dozy is familiar with the process. I know he's done enough of these in different cities. So he's pretty familiar with the process and what needs to be done. So if we could ask for fines, we certainly would. Even though I know he offered to assist a previous code case with cleaning up the property, but I think that's very generous of him. But we want to make sure that this doesn't continue to happen.
What, in turn, I'm going to ask the city this, under what authority would I have to, and I'm looking for a cite to the code, to issue a fine in this scenario where it's a owner fails to get a permit before moving a mobile home onto a piece of property, but now has come into compliance.
The city doesn't, the city or the authority having jurisdiction, which is myself as the building official, doesn't require you to issue a word for double permit fees. That is something that the state allows by statute. I don't know of any specific, fine, I'm not sure what was the case based on, was the complaint.
It was, again, just the process not being followed, and the complaint was about the placement of the structure on the vacant lot was the complaint. There's not a specific a code that I can quote for levying a fine.
Okay.
I would add that when they bring these units onto properties without getting permission first, it does create unsafe unsafe conditions. We do have a homeless problem in the city, and they could use these as a place to crash for the night. They may burn candles or things to try to stay warm during the cold months, and that could cause a possibility of fire. And again, we also, like I said, there is a process that has to be followed, and in this case, it just wasn't followed. I don't know of any specific code other than maybe it's an unsafe structure or unsafe conditions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm referring to section 2-418 of the Code of Ordinances related to my authority as a special magistrate to assess fines for violations of the city code. And that section of the code says that I can lodge a fine if the property owner doesn't comply with my order by the time set in my order. So I'm not seeing where, or upon a finding of a repeat violation, which isn't the case here. So I don't see where I have the authority to lodge a fine in this situation. That's what I'm asking the city to direct me where I, as a magistrate, I have the authority to lodge a fine in this situation.
Well, Your Honor, you are the expert when it comes to that. If you're saying you can't, then you certainly can't.
Okay. All right, well, I'm going to give the property owner a chance to address this matter.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I want to thank Mr. Scott and the city. Your Honor, I always follow the due process, but I and my girlfriend, the property right now is under her name. Her name is Render. We're not going to sell it anymore. We're going to keep it because during the storms, we had thought about selling it, but then we looked at it and the damages were not that bad. So we decided to go ahead. So, Your Honor, I did email Mr. David Young, who is the head of, I live in Newberry in Alachua County, and I emailed Columbia County. I went to the office multiple times. I did all the paperwork. For the moving, we contacted a company, a moving company in Tallahassee. We paid $17,000. So when they moved the companies, when you contact them, they're supposed to apply for paperwork. You pay them as a customer. They're supposed to apply for permits before they move it. Apparently they probably didn't do that. And then when they moved the home, when me and my girlfriend went there was a lot of weed smell. These people looked very questionable. I wasn't comfortable doing business with them. So in December, I changed a contractor. So my new contractor has been in contact with the city, and the city has been very helpful in helping me resolve everything. And we're just waiting for the permits and to move forward with the process.
Thank you. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you rectifying the situation. I'm not going to issue an order on granting the city's request for any fines, because I don't see in the code where I have the authority to do that. And also in light of the property owner coming into compliance and correcting the situation, I would not issue that fine either. Does the city desire me to issue an order, a written order on this case, denying the request?
Not at this time, Your Honor, since, again, things are being pursued in the proper course now. No order would be necessary.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anything else on that one?
Nope. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. All right. So we'll go back at this time to agenda item number 4 and 5. Since those are, can we take those up together? Are they related?
Just the same owner for both properties. The properties are together, but the same owner for both properties.
The properties are not together? They're different issues?
Yeah, well, they're the same issue, but two separate places.
Are the properties adjacent to each other? Or are they
No.
in complete? Okay.
They're not adjacent.
So let's take them up separately. Let me find it on the agenda. Okay. So we'll take up agenda item number 4 first. Sir, are we able to hear you now? We still cannot hear you. Were you able to call in? There is a chat feature if you want to, if you want to message me. I think I can respond to you on the chat feature. Mr. Sova or Mr. White, is there a call-in number for this property owner?
Let me pull that up. Hang on 1 second.
Okay. Okay, I see a number in the notice and one of the notices, 1-305, 224-1968. I believe if you, and I just put that number in the chat, I believe if you dial that number, sir, and then put in the meeting ID, which is 846-5954-1815, you should be able to get into the meeting. Two, 5. I also believe if you have an iPhone or something like that, you could probably go on zoom.com and enter the meeting ID, which I've provided in the chat. It's 846-5954-1815.
We can continue, Your Honor, if Mr. Hunter's having some challenges to the next hearing.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said we can, if it's all right, we can do a continuance of this case to the next hearing.
That's fine with me. Sir, do you want us to continue this matter so that you're able to participate? Yes. Okay. All right. We will continue cases 4 and 5 on the agenda and till next time, and we'll get the rest of the orders out that we discussed. Is there anything else for the agenda?
No, Your Honor.
All right. This hearing is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.